Alright guys, so we're talking about the food chain, food web today, okay? I would start your picture at the bottom of your page, okay? Because we're going to start at the bottom, we're going to move up, and then everything I put up here, you try to put up here too, okay? So when you start a food chain, what do you usually start off with? The smallest what? Right, your plants. Perfect. So, at the bottom of my food chain, I'm going to put a plant.
I got it working.
Yay, I told you.
It's the stupid, I switched it from where it was on the other side of my computer
And
and
it
it
worked better?
So it might be that, I didn't tell them that it's a hole in my problem.
Alright, so we got a plant, right? After we get a plant, who eats a plant? Alright, I'll choose one. Let's say a grasshopper. Okay? And we're going to go up. Who eats a grasshopper? Anybody? A bird, yeah. Okay, we'll say bird. Oh man, poor bird. Who eats a bird? And my thing just went out wet. I'm going to put a hawk. Okay. So, there's our food chain. Okay. This is actually a food chain. Okay, so, right. Food chain. Now we're gonna dissect each part of this food chain. So, our plants. They're called two things. Okay? Y'all know what a plant is? It is a producer. So these are all vocabulary words. You got producer. And you have an autotroph. What does auto mean? That's part of your food. That's part of your root words. What does auto mean? Y'all remember? Auto means self. And then troph means to eat. So, check this out. Self and to eat. So, it feeds itself, right? Do plants need to eat? No, it goes through photosynthesis in order for it to produce its own food. So it's a producer, okay? It produces its own food, and we also call it an autotroph because it self-feeds, okay? All right, our next one is the grasshopper. Does the grasshopper need food to survive? Yes, right. So this guy is called a heterotroph, and he is the primary consumer. A consumer means to eat, right? We already said troph means to eat. So hetero is also one of your root words that'll probably be on your quiz. Hetero means different. So he eats differently. Primary means the first one. He's the first one to eat in the food web, okay? So they ask you, hey, what's your primary consumer? That is your first person to eat, or first organism, sorry, okay? Not technically a person. So, now this guy only eats grass. So what do we call organisms that just eat grass? Do y'all know? It's also part of your root words. A herbivore. Y'all know what herbs are, right? Okay, herbs are just grass. A vor means to eat, so he literally just eats grass. That's it. Or plants, or anything green. Now your bird is a little bit different. Does he just eat grass? He doesn't even eat grass, right? So we call him a carnivore, yeah. And all you gotta think about is carne. Eat meat, right? You gotta eat meat. He is also a heterotroph because he has to eat. Everyone sitting in this room today, all 5 of us, 6 of us, we have to eat. We are heterotrophs, all of us. We don't self-feed ourselves. There's no way. Our bodies don't produce any type of food. So we are heterotrophs. Now he's the second person to eat, so we call him the secondary consumer. Sometimes they put a little 2, okay? But he's a secondary consumer. Then at the top, we have the hawk, right? It's our top dog sometimes. Predator, right? We got predator with prey. Our hawk is also a carnivore. Can he make his own food? No, so he's a heterotroph also. And he'd be a tertiary consumer, meaning he's the third one to, oh my goodness. So, my pen is horrible. Tertiary consumer. Tertiary meaning the third to eat. He eats number 3. Okay, so he's a carnivore. He's a tertiary consumer, and he's a heterotroph. Okay. So the pen gets funny at the top because you see how the line at the top is or whatever. Now, who provides this food chain energy? The sun. Yes. So I guess on this side, I'll put my little sun. The sun provides it energy. Provides the whole food web energy. Really what the sun is doing is giving the plants energy, right? So you can make photosynthesis. Plants are going to do photosynthesis, producers. Okay? Now, I'm not sure if you know this, but most times they do. These arrows represent the flow of energy. Okay, so you need to write the flow of energy. This is how the flow of energy goes through the food chain. Okay? Now, do you know how much energy percentage goes from food chain to food, from consumer to consumer? Do y'all know? %, yes. You're awesome. 10% of the energy goes from consumer to consumer through the food web. So 10%, 10%, 10%. Okay? Now, it's kind of crazy because every year, like, we've been teaching biology for the STAR, and we've always emphasized that 10%. I'll even show you on an energy pyramid how to do the 10%. And then one year on the STAR, they asked, well, what happens to the 90%? We're like, what? We didn't even, we told them what it did, but we didn't. So 90% of the energy is given off as heat and goes off to the environment. So when I was writing notes, I'd circle this one, and I'd circle that 10%. You got to know that 10% is transferred from trophic level to trophic level, and then our 90% is gone off as heat. Now I'm missing a big deal in my food web right now. Okay, so in my food chain, okay, so can you name me an organism that would eat all of these once they have died? Do you know what type of organism that is? Who? I can't hear you.
She's in a wheelchair.
A vulture? Okay, so they're like a scavenger, yeah. So on this side, I'm gonna put a decomposer. You could have a scavenger too, you're correct. But once they die, your decomposers will come. They will always have all the arrows to that one, okay? Because they're gonna eat them when they die. Your plants will die, your hawk will die, your bird will die, your grasshoppers will die, and then your decomposers will come in, and your scavengers. An example of a decomposer would be fungi, bacteria, and then for your scavengers, I would say like a, what do you call it? Like a buzzard. You know those birds that circle around? You see them? When you're driving in the road, they're always looking for those dead animals on the road. So we have a sun giving off all the energy. Our plants will absorb that sun. It'll go through photosynthesis. It'll have its own, what do you call it? It will produce its own food, so it's an autotroph. Then you go to your grasshopper who only eats grass, right? That's your herbivores. Heterotrophs have to eat, that's us, right? We have to eat. If we don't eat, what happens? We get all lazy, we get lethargic, we get dizzy. So we are heterotrophs. This guy's called a primary consumer. Now they're all consumers. This is your primary because that's your first one to eat, okay? Then your second, and then your third. Then you got your decomposers at the end who eat everything on that food web, okay? So now I'm going to change this into a, oh, that was not supposed to happen? Of course, right? So that's what I'll do. Now I'm going to change this into an ecological pyramid. Okay, this is a biomass pyramid. What does bio mean? Life, right? What does mass mean? Yeah, the amount, the weight. So the biomass. Now I'm going to put this in I'm going to use the food web or food chain that we use. Who has the most biomass? What do we have more of? Plants, grasshoppers? Plants, yeah. So plants will go here. Then your grasshopper. Then your bird. What did I put at the top? A hawk? Alright, so these are called trophic levels. This is your first trophic level. Second trophic level, third, fourth. Okay, so first, second, third, fourth. So they ask you who has the most biomass. You say plants, right? Who has the least? The top. Who would have the most energy? The plants, right? Okay, now let me show you how to do the 10% deal. So let's say they give you 1,457 kilojoules. And they tell you, what percentage does the birds have? Okay, so we're going to go 10%, 10%, 10%, right? We're going to lose 10%. You put a decimal point here. To move it 110, you're going to go this way. So this would be 145.7. So what am I going to do the next one? Move it over. So I'm going to have 14.57. And then for the last one, 1.457. Does that make sense? So they're always going to give you this number right here. And then all you got to do is move your decimal point. And that's when they're asking for the percentages. They'll say, all right, 10% of energy is transferred through the food chain or food web. What is the percentage of the birds? And And that's it. That's all you gotta do. Just move your decimal point. They'll give you the first one. Give you whatever number as long as it wants. Just move your decimal point over, okay? What else do I need? I feel like I've gone over everything. Now, you don't have to draw. Relax. I'm gonna relax. Alright, you don't have to draw this one, just pay attention. So these are the kind of questions you're gonna get. So if I have a plant, say I have some blueberries too, right? Those are producers. Humans eat blueberries. Grasshoppers eat grass. But maybe the grasshopper also eats blueberries. Grasshoppers eat birds. Humans eat birds, right? We eat chicken. We got hops. We got snakes. Now remember, your arrows are the flow of energy, so they always point up. The energy is going up the food chain, right? So humans also eat snakes, right? Y'all ever have rattlesnake? It's delicious, okay? I've never had a hawk, but you know what? I don't know about how to grasshopper, but anyways, humans do eat grasshoppers too. They're kind of weird. So now I have a food web. Does that make sense? Now I got more things that are eating multiple. You got little food chains in between them. What else do humans eat? Deer, maybe? And then deer eat blueberries. Alright, so these are the kind of questions you're going to get. So I got a nice little food web going on here. Let's say there's a drought. And you know what? My producers didn't make it. The blueberries, they made it. But my plants, they died. What's going to happen to my populations? It's going to get smaller, right? Who's probably going to be the first one affected by it? The grasshopper, your primary consumer, right? He's not going to have no food. So my grasshoppers have to go down. Will my birds have any food if my grasshoppers are going down? No, right? So it's just going to keep going down the line. Okay, so those are kind of the type of questions you're going to have. You'll have something like also, what is missing from this food chain? What am I missing? What did I leave out? Think about what eats everything. The decomposer, I left out a decomposer, right? So sometimes I'll have a question like this. They'll have a big X and they're like, what's missing in my food chain? Right? And it's going to be your decomposer. Sometimes they're going to say, all right, so my plants and my blueberries, the first people to eat were grasshoppers, right? So I can put a 1', right? That means first consumer. All right, so my deer, wow, oh, we ate human. Okay, so I messed this up, didn't I? Because deers don't eat humans. I messed that one up. My bad. But check this out. The deer eats eats grass, right? So he's a 1. But look at it, this one. I messed it up. I can't even show it to you now. Okay, so what type of consumer would my bird be? First, second, third, or fourth? Second, yeah. Then my hawk would be 3rd, and my snake would be 4. Now look at it this one. My blueberry to human is 1. You see that, where the human ate the blueberry? But the human also ate the snake. So that would be a 2. Does that make sense? So you're just going to follow little food chains and food webs. Alright. I think that's all I need today. So that was food chain, food webs. Thank you. I have no idea of it still. Oh, you can see it.